What's up, everyone? How is everyone doing today? I totally decided to do a on the spot kind of content video today. This is my first time doing a video on my own. This is me getting out of my comfort zone. I am a little nervous, you guys. I decided I'm gonna make a thumbnail for the YouTube channel. I'm gonna break up everything into easy topics for you guys to go and find and research. And so I just said, you know what? Who cares what my picture looks like? Like, let's just do it. So that's what I'm doing today. I said, you know what? If I keep pushing it off, it's never going to get done. And I've got lots of content ideas and topics. So I just decided, let's do it. So today's topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about was top 5 things we ask brokers for. And really, it's gonna be more than 5 things, but that's just what the title was. So let's just we're gonna go with that. I hope you guys are having a good day. Hi to Bo and Tiffany, Joelle. If you're here, comment. Let me see who's in here. I love you guys for showing up. I didn't think anybody was gonna come today, so I appreciate you guys. So you have questions pertaining to things to ask for brokers, you can put them in the chat. Anything else, we're going to save that for a different Zoom. That way, this specific YouTube will be all about this one topic rather than going off on different topics. And if you have ideas of different topics you want me to cover, definitely let me know and I'll add it to the list of things to talk about. So let me just tell you guys, I talk to brokers all the time. And something that I'm always asking for and that I'm training them to do now is, let's see, number 1, is there an assumable loan? You wanna know, like, if you're getting deals from them, right? If they're sending you deals, you wanna know, is there an assumable loan? And if there is, what are the terms of the loan? So if there's an assumable loan, that's a good thing because that typically means that they have a debt in place already that you can come and take over, meaning they probably got a better, I'm sorry guys, I'm out of breath. They have a better percentage. I can't think of the word, a better, interest rate. Interest rate than like what they're doing right now if you were to go get a new loan. So that can make the deal a lot better than if you were to go get new debt. So right now when when people are asking for cash, right, then we have to be a lot lower than what we would want to be at. So we like to ask, is there assumable loans? Because then it's like, okay, now we can get somewhere, right? And so if there's an assumable loan, my second question is going to be, can or will you seller finance the remaining equity? So you want to ask him or whoever the broker is, will a seller finance? And some people feel like it's a turnoff to ask that, or they feel they have to ask within a certain time, but I don't think it's a big deal. If anything, I'm like, look, you want me to get closer to your price? Do an assumable loan, seller finance the equity. I was like, we can do it with a 5-year balloon and get you paid out in 5 years. But like, if you can work with us to get us terms to where we can cash flow, then like, let's make it work. So number 1, assumable loans. If there is an assumable loan, you want to know, what do the terms look like? Some of them will end in a year or 2. Some of them will end in 10 years. Some of them still have interest only payments. So you want to see the most recent paperwork on that. So that way, when you're underwriting your deal, you know what you're working with. And also, we like to ask these questions because if there's an assumable loan and they're willing to seller finance, well, then that means, okay, there's a higher chance that we can get to the price that they're asking. Because if they're not open to these things and they're only wanting cash, well, it typically means that, okay, well, let me Next thing I would ask for is a debt quote. So a debt quote is just um a quote of like how much financing is going to cost to cover for a new loan. So um when getting a debt quote, it's going to show you what the interest rates are right now and things like that. So that way, when you're underwriting, you can see how much that new loan, that money is going to cost you. So when you're getting a debt quote and now you're underwriting because they want cash, it's like, well, dude, like you're overpriced. I can't meet you at that number you want all cash because then I'm not going to cash flow and I can't get a return um, to my investors. So, what we're seeing now, what I'm dealing with, is a lot of sellers are open to seller finance. A lot of sellers have assumable loans. You have to realize that some people are wanting to get out. There's a lot of people wanting to jump ship right now, and that means now is the time for us to go and find these properties. And I think a huge opportunity is coming our way because basically the interest rates, right? So, or you have people who have bridge loans due and stuff like that. So they have to pay off their investors. They have to get out of these deals. And some people are going to have to do whatever it takes, meaning seller finance and stuff like that. So, the fourth thing that I ask for is financials. You want to make sure you have an updated T12, not a T12 from months ago or a year ago. I want an updated T12, rent roll, and an OM if they have it. So when I'm working with my brokers, I train them to have these questions already answered for me. Like, don't bring me a deal. Don't just send me an OM. Don't just send me financials. Have all of these questions already answered for me. Like, I want to know all of these because otherwise I'm gonna have to go back and ask you anyway. So I just have all of these questions. I tell him or her, whoever the broker is, this is what I need. So the other thing that I ask for is the call for offers date. And the reason for that is because when we submit our LOI, we are going to submit it the day it's due because we don't want our offer to be shopped around. So we always want to make sure that like we know that date if there is one. Sometimes there's not, which is okay. But if there is, then we need to know that date. The other thing that I ask for is what is the reason the seller is selling their property? And the reason for that, and I mean, I think all of you probably know, but we are problem solvers. I'm not here to come take anything from anyone or force anybody to anything. Like, we want to help people, right? We want to help whoever it is in their situation, whatever it is that they want. So, if we can find out what the pain point is or the reason that the seller is selling, then that gives us more leverage to come in and figure out what it is that they need or want. So that way we can solve their problem rather than just kind of going back and forth and neither party is happy. Give me a second, running out of breath. Okay. The last thing is the whisper price or the purchase price, same thing. I always want to know that. A lot of times, brokers will send me stuff with no price. And I was like, I need to know the price because when we napkin underwrite it, I want to know how far we are off from their price. Because if their asking price is, for instance, I got a deal sent to me, their asking price was 90 million and the napkin underwrite was at 30 million. So that tells me, okay, we are 60 million off. So it's probably not worth my time to even call that person back or even dig deeper into the financials. So that's why it's important to have the purchase price as well, because if you don't know what they want and then you're spending all this time underwriting the deal and then now you find out how much they want and it's not even close to where you need to be at, then you just wasted time. So time is money. Time is an important thing. So that is why I ask brokers for all of these things ahead of time, and I train them to bring me these things and have these questions answered, because some brokers take a long time to respond to me, and they're starting to get on the bottom of my list now because of it. Because, like, if I'm having to ask, is there an assumable loan? But if you had just asked that in the beginning, like, we could have already moved forward. And now I'm just waiting on information that should have already been answered, and it's been a week. So, like we said, time is money, especially when you want to put an offer in and get it underwritten and walk the property and things like that. So, I'll go over the points one more time for those who missed them, and just to reiterate, and then I'll answer some questions. So these YouTubes are going to be short and sweet, so that way when you want to go back and rewatch them, you can get to the main points that you're looking for, and not having to like decipher through a 3-hour Zoom or anything like that. So number one, I ask, is there an assumable loan? And if there is, what are the terms of the loan? And number two, if they're open to seller finance, whether there's an assumable loan or not, or even if there is, always ask if there's seller finance. That's like our favorite thing. You can do so much, and you can get closer to the seller's price. Number three is a debt quote. If you're going to buy cash, like if you're going to do a seller finance only, you don't need a debt quote, because you're not going to go get a new loan. And a lot of times I use a debt quote as a way to, like, here in your face, you see how much it's going to cost me to go get another loan. So, like, obviously, you know, your price is overpriced. So they may not always have it, but it's good if they already have it, because either way, you're going to have to shop around, and it's just good to compare and have that if they do. Number four, financials, obviously, T12, most updated OM rent roll. And then you want to know the call for offers date. That way you can put in your offer the day that is due, so your offer doesn't get shopped around. And then you want to know the reason that they're selling. That way you can, make it a win-win situation and help the seller in whatever situation they're in. And then you want to know the purchase price. That way you can compare with your underwriting whether or not you're close to where you need to be. So those are the, I guess, top 7 things I ask brokers for. Doesn't really match the title, but I will come look at your guys' questions now, if you have any in regards to this topic specifically, and then I will call it a day. I'm kind of proud of myself. I got out of my comfort zone. Okay, let's see. I see Joelle in here. Hi, Sean. I see Joelle says, do we have to explain sub 2 seller finance, balloon loan, seller financing? Okay, let's see Joelle's question. Do we have to explain sub 2 seller finance, balloon loans, seller financing, the down payment, etc., to what pasted on a recent deal? Or are they aware of it mostly? Brokers are usually aware of what all of this is. In multifamily, we don't really do sub 2. I mean, it could be possible. Us personally, we don't know much about it, and we steer away from it because lenders are very involved in the deal. Like, you have to get approval from the lender if you want to, like, if you have a commercial space under your property, you have to get approval from them to, like, have a tenant there. And so they're just, when there's millions of dollars involved, they want to know what's going on with their money. So I'm sure it would not be good to do a sub 2 and then have it called due. So I don't know about that, but seller finance, they should know. Down payment, they should know. Balloon loans, they should know. And if not, then you can educate them. I educate my broker all the time. It's actually really awesome that we kind of work together. He kind of gives me feedback on, hey, you should change your LOI to look like this, or you should do this. And, like, he breaks down that barrier for me between the other brokers. So he's kind of like a person that's vouching for me when I'm putting in offers for deals. And I totally lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'll come back to it. I totally, like, lost where I was going with that in my brain. Um, let's see, what's the next question? Do assumable commercial real estate loans have balloons? I do not know. That's a good question, Bo. I do not know. Let's see. Joel said, heard on a post recently, most Class C and B are open to seller finance, but heard for Class A, most brokers and sellers are not interested in seller finance. What do you guys notice usually? It just depends. I don't think it really matters. I think it depends on what the seller situation is. And yeah, I think it's just different for everybody. And it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst you could be told is no and be right back where you started. So always shoot your shot. Let's see. Joelle, how different is it finding their pain point and helping them out compared to single family? Seeing it more straightforward. Yeah, I was just about to say exactly that. I overthinking it, Joelle. You just ask the question and see how you can solve it. Let's see. When we ask about the loan terms, what are the answers you want to hear in order to approach towards an offer? It doesn't really matter. There's nothing specific that you want to. I mean, if the loan is due in a year, that might be a little concerning just because then you have a year to refinance it. But there's nothing specific. It's more so you want to know what you're working with. So that way, when you go to plug in your financials and do all of that and underwrite it, that's not my lane. I pass that off. But when I get the info and I pass it to them, like that's what they're going to be looking for. They're going to be like, okay, like when I plug this in with the loan that they already have, how's it cash flowing right now if we were to take over that? And then if you're going to seller finance or refinance, well, then you need to know what that's going to look like. So you have to underwrite it in that sense too. But what are the answers you want to hear in order to approach towards an offer? There's nothing specific you want to hear. So you just want to be able to take that and go underwrite it, and then you go figure out your offer. But you just need that paperwork. Let's see. Do you ever consider purchasing with little to no records and use that in your negotiations? Speaking to someone now who's older, sick, and doesn't have them, but price reflects that. Um, our first deal was like that actually. Um, they wrote it on a napkin, I think, or something like that. It was not there was no financials. And that happens sometimes. Like you have mom and pops or people who don't know how to run a property. And I mean, that's the pain, right? Like that's the deals that you want to go after because um now that's like, hey, that's a problem I can solve. There's like hurt there. So it's like we want to find mismanaged properties because then you can come in and fix them up, raise the rent, put a property management in place and make money. So, in that instance where there's no records, well, now you have to assume expenses. So, for a class A, it would be 45% expenses, and for class B and C, you would assume 50%. I'm pretty sure. So you would just have to it goes into more detail, and I have slides that I created in our Facebook group with formulas to find this stuff out. Or if you want to work on this deal with us together and tackle it, then we can check it out too. But there's ways to figure it out. You just have to assume certain expenses or things like that. So we would have to base our price off of assumptions rather than what it's actually doing since we won't know. So I hope that helps. How do you go about a multifamily that is completely vacant with zero financials? Oh, okay. I guess that's kind of what I just answered, Bo, about doing assumptions, assuming that the income, um, the expenses, and all of that. So I wish I could give a more in-depth answer, but that's like a Joseph Ione question. So Let's see. A broker asked me recently, how fast are we looking to close? Told it was deal dependent. How different are times depending on JV or syndication? So, um, if it's a seller finance deal, we tell them we can close faster, right? We still want to have the same amount of due diligence, typically 45 days. And then we can possibly choose a faster closing. Reason being is like we don't have to wait for somebody to approve a loan for us. And if you're doing an assumption, well, that's going to take time. So, um, it really depends on the type of deal. Like, is it seller finance? Is it an assumption or is it a cash deal? Like, are you having to go get a loan? Because like you're gonna have to have the lender go and check things out. It's just gonna take a lot more time and they're gonna hold a lot of things up. So you have to account for that. And most deals are gonna be minimum 30-day inspection, 30-day close. So mostly 45, 45 too. It just depends. So if you're doing a syndication, I think that depends on how fast you get everything put together with your lawyers because you need to get that process started, which takes time. And then JV is a little faster in that sense. But also, if you're doing a HUD loan, if you're assuming a HUD loan, that takes 6 months. That's a 6-month process. So we're looking at a deal. Actually, never mind. We're not anymore. I forgot that it was way overpriced. They're not budging on price. So I'm just going to wait and see. But it was a HUD loan, meaning that if we assume that loan is going to take 6 months to assume it. So that would be a 6 months close. So it just depends on the kind of deal that it is and whether or not you're having to deal with other people and wait on other people. So, did anybody else have any other questions before I hop off? Anything about brokers or talking to brokers or getting information or any rebuttals that you need that you're getting stuck on when talking to them? And I'm super glad y'all are here. I'm gonna give you like one more second if anybody's typing, otherwise I'm assuming y'all don't have any questions. We've got more content coming. I've got lots of ideas, and I just need I need to put the other team members on here and assign them to some content ideas because obviously I'm not gonna come on and teach y'all underwriting. So so yes, you'll be able to rewatch this. This is live on YouTube. So it will be recorded on our YouTube channel. That's why I'm creating this. So that way, when you guys have questions or need answers to specific topics, you guys can go to our YouTube channel and find answers to those topics. So hopefully that makes it easier than going through several hour Zooms and stuff like that. Let's see. Ryan said, anything new you're seeing? I'm assuming it said seeing with the changes in rates and downturn in the market. Nothing new other than just having to coach, I guess, some brokers that they need to be honest and upfront with their sellers. It's more so a waiting game. Like there's one property that like we haven't budged on our price and we're just like, okay, like I'm gonna keep waiting. Your property gonna keep sitting there and I'm gonna keep waiting. Like I'm not coming up to your price. And so it's just more so waiting for the sellers to have that realization. And so I think it's coming soon that they're going to have a wake up call and then there's going to be lots for us to eat, you guys. So now is the time to take action. Any smaller deals than 100 has to be creative, right? Yes, please and thank you. I found a 12 unit in Fort Lauderdale and need to call a broker. I need to know what to ask him. Elizabeth, I'm not sure if you hopped on late, but you should definitely go watch the beginning of this. And I covered 7 things that I asked brokers for. It's super helpful. Are there anything like lease option master leases done in multifamily? Yes, I'm pretty sure there are. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%, but broker questions, please. All right, you guys. Well, I try to make this short and sweet for y'all. If y'all have any more ideas of content we should do, let us know. Put it in the Facebook group. We're trying to get more content out to you guys to help y'all. So if this was useful to you guys, let me know. I enjoy the feedback and I hope y'all have a good day. So I will talk to y'all later and let's see if I can figure out this outro this time. Okay, bye guys.